Welcome to Cosmic Tickle. This is my show for all the sensitive, creative, smart, imaginative, visionary women who want to create life on their terms. If that's you, I'm with you. We're doing life on our terms, meaning without sacrificing the well-being, emotional, physical well-being in the process, and honoring our values, honoring our desires, and doing this 100% on our terms. My name is Gosia. I'm a mind-body coach, and today I will be talking about compassion fatigue and burnout that happens to so many amazing people in their heart-led business, in their heart-led purpose-oriented profession or passion or side business. So I will be talking about the prevention and the mindset, the kind of paradigm shifts that help us to change the way we navigate life and work so that it becomes sustainable. If you listen to me at any moment, you know I'm all about creating life on our terms sustainably. It has to be on our terms, honoring our needs and our desires. It really needs to be something that works for us. Lately, I received an email from a coach. She's a great coach, but she gives out so much. You know, she works so much in her business and is doing so much good as well. But she's burnt out, and she's burnt out again. And she, sent out this amazing email through a newsletter, which means down at the bottom, feeling as she is, she still finds that strength to email people who are her followers, who are her friends and network, and, asking for resonance and all that. And I was really happy to share with her my experiences. She really welcomed that perspective, and this is something I really wanted to speak about now, because I really believe we have so much to give, but we have to also find a way to balance things out. I'm just going to offer what I offered to her, and I will start definitely with kind of precaution of how do I live, how do I run my business, how do I work so I don't feel burnt out, right? I'm a coach. I do a lot of recording, I do a lot of writing, I do a lot of coaching, and obviously these things are, very dear to me. But there was a moment when I nearly burned out in coaching business, but I definitely burned out in other business before, so I know how that feels, okay? And I burned out before many times because that's just that kind of temperament, that kind of personality that has it when we want to help so much, when we care so much, when we really want to give it all and share it with people who need it and maybe make their lives better, right? So if that's something that resonates with you, I really think this whole episode will be for you. I'll try to make it as condensed as possible, but knowing my ability to go in depth into rabbit holes and into analyzing, it might be longer. We'll see. But I'll just give you the 3 paradigm shifts that are so important in the way we work. You don't have to really wait until the burnout happens, but even if it does, you can still apply these paradigm shifts as a way of navigating your work you might be doing still if you haven't paused completely or took sabbatical. So the first thing I want to offer is that, as counterintuitive it sounds, we have to create business and our work, whatever we do, even if that's freelance, or hopefully you can even arrange work if you work for someone else. in the most ways that will honor your needs, that will have your needs and your wants as a priority. So yes, it's a counterintuitive thing that the service business would be serving yourself first, right? If you don't fill up yourself first, you cannot help anyone. I'm sure you heard it numerous times and maybe you're nodding, yeah, I know this. But how do you make your business serve you first so that you don't feel that it's like selfish or is not aligned with your values? Well, first of all, you have to care about your goals, about how you want to feel. And it always comes down to the feeling. Because whatever we do in our life is not the thing that we seek. We seek a feeling that it gives, okay? So if you want a car, maybe it's because you associate it with freedom, right? If you want a house, it's maybe because you associate it with a sense of security. So if you want a business, why do you want it? Why did you start it in the first place? Or why are you following your passion if that's not the business? Maybe you have a side hustle of some sort, right? And that might be burning you out. And I talked in some of my past episodes of how women overgive in business, in their work, how sometimes we go into, and that's for men as well, but we go into these fields of work, maybe risking a lot, being courageous to maybe go out of corporate and follow your passion, follow your heart. But then you realize that you are slaving for your business as well. So whatever you seeked out, you are still making the same mistakes. You have not changed yourself. You brought yourself and the same way of thinking into just a new structure, right? And that's the biggest problem. So the way I understand making business around you, revolve around your needs, is that first you have to know what are you looking for in it. If you're seeking freedom in your business, because maybe you said goodbye to 9 to 5 and you said like I want freedom and I want joy and I want respect, right? Oh, that's 3. And you go into this work and then, oh my God, I have to give so much. I have to be perfectionist in, creating these offerings. They have to be spot on. And then you exhaust yourself and you don't sleep at night because you're overthinking. So you don't have neither freedom, you don't have neither joy, and you don't have, what was the third one? Respect. Because people who see how you're overworking yourself, how can you serve someone when you've overworked? You're showing them that you don't respect yourself, right? You don't respect your resources, the resource of, time and rest and just having the time to unwind and clear your head. So it's really important that you know what you're seeking. Now that you know what you're seeking, you can find ways in your business to design it around what is going to give me more freedom. Okay, maybe I have to hire a VA, right? Or maybe I have to outsource something. Or if I can't afford doing that just yet, maybe it's doing something else. How is that going to bring you joy? Well, maybe if you find people with deep emotional problems draining you because you're an empath, don't give that. I know you're good at it, but it's not good for you. You don't have to do what is good for everyone, meaning you're great at it. You have to do what's good for you, full stop. And this should be around every aspect of business, whether what you're offering, who you're working with, how you charge, what kind of offering you choose to serve in the first place. So really question all these choices versus the feelings that you want to get out. And if something is raising suspicion, then change it, because life is too short and you're loading a lot of investment, time investment and energy to build something. And it's really hard to like change things when you've invested so much. I know people come to me and they've invested so much and they say like, okay, so how am I supposed to change it now? Now I have all these clients and I'm supposed to now start talking to different people. Yes, if these are draining you, if they're constantly unhappy with what they get, they always want more, like, what's the point of doing this in the first place, right? If you can be like, if you want to be miserable, then there are so many easier ways to be miserable. So, okay, that's one. Organize your business around your needs and wants and desires. Whew. Now that we have this one out of the way, I want to talk about something that's really important. And, you know, all of these things is what I coach people to do, like living a life on their terms, not people, but women, people, human women. You know what I mean? But the thing is that there is this aspect really that I'm very spending a lot of time that is built on the foundation on this, my coaching program, is basically tapping into your emotions and your intuition and listening to these whispers, to these nudges, so that you start following your inner knowing into first validating yourself, saying to yourself like, I'm tired, I don't want to push through, I'm not supposed to push through, my body is tired, it wants to rest, I'm going to rest now, right? And you know that if you're trying to push through a project after you've been tired, maybe stressed or anxious, there is almost never anything good comes out of this. And when you're just trying to push through and, you know, just grind through this, you are hitting the wall and you're making it harder for yourself, for your business. So the second point that I'm bringing up is to find a way to listen to your inner nudges, to your body, to your intuition, and to your sensory perceptions. This is so important, and like hardly anyone ever talks about it. Is basically connecting your mind with your body and with your spirit. Know what you want, know where are your limits, know what are your resources. Listen to your body's wisdom. It knows so much, even though it's emotional, but the head always thinks it knows better. But it doesn't. It doesn't. It wants to confuse you because the head has been conditioned by all these cultural voices that tell you have to, you know, push through, you just have to struggle through, you have to hustle. And this is bullshit if you ask me, and, you know, all the people that come to me with burnout and stress-induced illness, okay? So ask anyone who have gone through major breakdown that happens through overworking and self-sacrifice. I'm sure you can find like billions of examples of people telling you how unsustainable that is. So the second point, if you're not working with me, find a way to listen to your own nudges, listen to your intuition, and validate yourself. Validate your self-worth, your innate worth as a human being, into deciding, having the authority in your life for telling what is right and what is wrong. Not like in a judgy way, like I'm right and everyone is wrong, but for you, what is right for you, what feels good, what feels like, you know, the emotions that I told you become a driver, they are the desires, but then your body gives you that feedback. It feels, is that the thing I really desired? Is that what brought me here? Am I following these nudges? And I know we've all been conditioned to be in our heads non-stop. That's why you're overthinking, overanalyzing, doubting, second guessing, and self-questioning your inherent inner worth. Okay, stop doing this and you will become more sustainable in the way you work and in the way you live your life. Now, the third aspect is something I brought up to her, and it's interesting because it is never just about the work. Burnout, or this compassion fatigue, as we might call it, is never just about work. It's about us having a certain relationship to ourselves and to the universe. What do I mean by this? Maybe you are not trusting that something good could happen to you. That's why you're putting so much out there. Like, that's why you're overworking. You have to kill the uncertainty, basically. You have to squish, you have to predict everything. And for doing this, the head, again, always tells us to do more, right? So that third point is really important because it's the whole approach to yourself and to life itself that just manifests at work. Because let's be honest, we work many hours a day, and we, you know, especially when you are following your passion, if you are hard-led, then it could really predominate the whole of the day, the whole of the week, the whole of your thinking. Yes, there is a private life. But again, if you're burning out, there is a high chance you also burn out in relationships. You also give too much in relationships, right? It's not just at work, but you are perfectly balanced at home. It's like all over. And that's why usually when people have a breakdown of some sort, or burnout, or some crisis, it usually starts mirroring to them also all the personal problems, because they start seeing things more acutely about their patterns, what is not working, what feels too exhausting. They start feeling all the demand of energy much more, because now they started finally paying attention to the body nudges I was telling you that we normally don't hear. Right? So this is really important, that we need to have a look at the whole way how we relate to ourselves. Do I feel worthy enough? Do I feel like I deserve to be joyous? If I don't believe on this, then it's natural I would be overworking. It is natural that I would be overgiving it at work and in relationships. If I feel like I'm not good enough, then I always have to prove that I'm more, because someone else from the outside have to tell me that I'm good enough, right? It's like it's like a hole that never ends. It doesn't have a bottom. You can put in and put in and put, and it will never be enough. That's why you're exhausted, or maybe you were exhausted if you ever experienced similar, experience like burnout. I, believe that looking at the inner patterns, at the inner beliefs, and generally what people call mindset and emotional set, is probably what you can leverage the most in any business. If you are a very well attuned emotionally, mentally, if you live with integrity with yourself and can listen to your body, this is the biggest leverage for no matter what kind of business. Because what you bring to any business or to any line of work, you bring yourself. It's not your offering. It is not your website. It is not your funnel. I still don't know exactly what a funnel is, okay? I do things my own way. And that's the thing. If you feel constantly like you have to prove yourself, then you will have to be giving more and more and more. And it will never be enough to feel enough unless you feel enough from within. That's why working on beliefs, the emotional set, the embodiment, and the uniting the mind, body, and spirit, the desire, the inner fire that wants to create something, that wants to play, that doesn't want to be squished. But then there is the mind that is constantly comparing and telling you all these nonsense. All these things need to be regulated, and this is what I do. So if you want to have that transformation, if you can't access this on your own, you can definitely contact me. I'll always leave details how to contact me in the description. But the way you can start it in an easy way, you can start by looking at your choices. Am I choosing out of fear of scarcity? Am I constantly worried about my worth? Or am I acting and choosing because I trust and I believe this is good for me? This is going to fill me up, and this is alongside my desires. So this is really important, because choices is what crystallizes into our whole life. The choices you make every day, like who I work with, what is the subject of my work, what is the offering I put out, what is the style of my paintings, what is the, I don't know, the medium of my paintings, what is the offering I'm serving to people. All these decisions need to align with your bigger goals, not to the fears that, you know, drive you to what you can avoid to prepare yourself for the worst case scenario. And this is when we start choosing the compromises. We do everything but the thing that we want. Do you know what I mean? It's that inner fear that if you followed like 100% what you wanted, something wrong would happen. So you have to kind of make it harder for yourself. Maybe this kind of client will be better, maybe they will pay more, or maybe this offering will sell better because it's more commercial. But it will burn you out more and faster because you're going against yourself. I talk about, you know, the connection with the inner self, the connection with source, how it always pulls us back through these tensions, through these breakdowns, because it really wants to put closer to itself so that we're aligned on our track to following what we have to. And, you know, people who experience large breakdowns in their life, they know that this is a time for evaluation. But before it hits them, before their butt is kicked, they would never take the time to make that change, right? It's natural for people that they wait until the last moment, and they just wait until something breaks them and wakes them up from this illusion. So I'm just sharing that life is all about choices, small and big choices, but mostly the small ones. And I have a choice guide. I have the guide that explains perfectly how to navigate any choices during the day, whether that's what you're going to do with your website, or, you know, the direction of your business, or where you're going to live, right? It's really, no, I'm telling you what to do, but it's teaching everyone, it's teaching you how to make these choices in a conscious way that will add to your life, not that will lead to burnout, because all the things that lead to burnout is the crash that I'm talking about, when you're going against yourself. So if you want that choice guide, it's going to be in a link. You can download it from the link in the description of this episode. It's really simple. And, you know, I really want to create a circle for women, like a Q&A where we can discuss these choices, and I can give you feedback on how to do these things. And once you download this, you will also be connected through email, and soon I will be communicating how we can start doing this Q&A, this monthly Q&A, as I've already decided, to connect in, of course, a live conversation where I can guide and show you aspects that you might not be seeing in terms of mind, body, and spirit connection, so that everything works in alignment, that we don't have to go against some sort of resistance that is that burnout. When we go against ourselves, when we don't listen to the inner nudges, right? And if that's something you want, definitely please follow the guide, follow the link in the description, get on my email list, and you will get notified about all the amazing things that are coming up soon. And just to say at the end, you know, if you are going through a burnout right now, if you are suffering compassion fatigue in acute state, well, it's general, but really what I wanted to say, the best way to think about healing from this is the unconditional love and trust for your body, okay? Unconditional self-love, doing everything that you need to recover, but filling yourself so much up from inside, whether that's through diet, through a lot of resting, through conversations with lovely, friendly people, surrounding yourself with things that will support you, and not trying to, you know, say to yourself like, I'm weak, or my body is just giving up on me. What is that? You know, it's not going alongside with my goals. But remember, body is the store for the unconscious mind, which takes up 95 to 97% of our awareness, of our conscious awareness. It really knows much more than you think it does, and it collects all the information, and it collects data that is, you know, coming from everywhere. And it's not something you're doing consciously, but if you are silent, when you are still, you can listen to it. And when you are in a burnout, of course, you have to let the dust settle, and this is really the time for complete unconditional self-love that you can give to yourself. And that's basically my advice for you. And if that's something you're suffering with, I'm just so with you, my friend. I know how horrible that feels. I've gone through so many stress-induced illness, symptoms, burnout, you name it. And I know that the only thing that heals us is trusting the body and trusting what it wants, at least for the moment, and learning how to develop this inner connection for the future. Okay, so I'm going to be wrapping this up. Remember to download the choice guide from the description of this episode. And if you want to work with me in my amazing program, Embodied Reintegration, you can also find the link there. For now, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you very soon.